Hello everybody, and welcome to this video on the three elements of rhythm. Where should we begin? Maybe like three big questions. What is rhythm? In music, how do we experience rhythm? And thirdly, where did rhythm come from? I think the first question is kind of the easiest because it's an overarching question about rhythm. And rhythm is the dividing of time into smaller units or cycles, I suppose, that repeat themselves in some kind of way. So the natural world is full of rhythms, days, seasons, and years. The human body is naturally attenuated to various rhythms that keep you alive, your heartbeat, your breath. And so you're responding to and aware of these rhythms, even if subconsciously. So I guess that's what a rhythm is. And obviously anything like music, which is a human experience, will be dividing time up into bits, and that is rhythm. But how do we experience rhythm when we're listening to rhythm in music? Do we experience it as something that's kind of conjured up and thought of and then appreciated with the mind? Or is it kind of something which is felt within the body? And I think the answer to that may depend on what it is that you're listening to, what kind of music it is that you're listening to. For example, da bum 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 bum. That's one kind of rhythm, if you like. Another one might be something a little bit more like two different kinds of rhythmic feels there, I think, in fairness. And so the first one is something that might be found more in the classical genre. And in that kind of rhythm, doesn't matter if you stretch or pull the time or make it languid or hurried at various points, and even just kind of pause in the middle of it. No, it doesn't. Secondly, does it work if you superimpose that kind of music on a really sort of solid groove, which is more like the second kind of rhythmic feel? And the answer is maybe not so much, as anyone who's experienced switched on Bach would probably agree. So you have these, you have the kinds of rhythmic, you have the kind of rhythm within music which is to be sort of appreciated, but then you have the kind of rhythm which makes you want to move, and that's really, we're going to be centering our observations around that area, and we call that groove, and I guess it's a subsection of rhythm, but it's also everything that we say about rhythm, I think, is going to be more or less applicable to all kinds of music. So the question, therefore, is, yes, where did rhythm come from? Where did groove come from? And maybe like a quick way of answering this question might be to ask you to move your feet in some kind of way to let's dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Boom, boom, boom. Let's dance. I'm on the radio. So, I think I would be surprised if you weren't moving your feet in this kind of way. Let's dance. Boom, step, step. Put on your... Another example. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Everywhere you go. And I would be surprised if you weren't stepping. Go, you always take the weather with you. Interesting. What about pull up to the bumper, baby? in your black limousine. Ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, dum, ba-dum, dum, dum, dum. Pull up to my bumper, baby. Boom, step, 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 step. So we find, and again, I think you probably would have been stepping like that. And what does this mean? I mean, it means that there's a strong relationship between stepping and rhythm, and a strong inclination for music to provide to provide an impetus for people to move their feet to. And strong circumstantial evidence of this is the fact that the range of normal walking speeds, i.e. 100 to 100 in the late 30s, is exactly the same as the range of beats per minute in all of the hit songs that I looked up, between 100 and about 138. So here's my first theory for the day, is that rhythm in music arose from walking. With that is circumstantial evidence, and also a kind of a common sense to it, in the sense that, rhythm relates to walking in the same way that singing relates to talking. Let's just do a little bit of walking and experience a couple of things. So just go left, 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 left. Yeah. So it's just worthwhile spending a little bit of time doing this, and note what happens in the body. Left and left, left and left, left, left. What's happening, first of all, in the breath? Is there anything that's happening, especially if you just kind of up the energy level slightly? I think you may find that the rhythm of your breathing naturally starts coinciding with what's happening in your step, and the way that that's kind of energizing your whole body rhythmically. I don't know if anyone's had the experience of running and finding that your breathing pattern is matching your steps. So that's the first observation. The second one is, what happens if you're walking alongside somebody and you want them to sort of walk with you closely, and they're walking in a different rhythm to you? You get into this kind of battle, which is generally resolved by you agreeing to walk at a certain speed, which is a compromise between the two of you. And indeed, when people walk together in groups, there is a tendency for everybody to fall into concert in that way. The third observation or question relates to how talking would change, or indeed singing if you were doing it, if you're walking along and left and left and left, leaving aside the kind of more obvious sort of marching cadences. Even if you're just sort of talking casually, there's a sort of a way in which the rhythm, the steady rhythm, makes sense of what you're saying and interprets it. So if you were saying, for example, the words, "I don't think she loves you," just try saying that. How does that sit with this groove? Is it, "I don't think she loves you"? Is it, "I don't think she loves you"? I think it probably could be. What about, "Take my tape, but don't take my tape deck"? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think it should be, "Take my tape, but don't take my tape deck. Take my tape, but don't take my tape deck. Take my tape, but don't take my tape deck. Take my tape, but don't take my tape deck." Boom. Have a little pause for a moment if you indeed did move from your sofa. There we go. So that's the way, because there's quite a little bit of time in between those beats, between those beats. So anyway, so what we have established here is definitely the first element of music, which is the beat, or the pulse. And that's the most simple and elemental way of understanding a song, and that is via the feet, the pulse, the beat. And typically in notated music, it probably would be a crotchet or an American style quarter note, which is a beat. That's just a tiny knowledge bomb, only for those people who are interested in that, and we won't get into music theory anymore in this class, I promise you. So already as we were doing that walking, it was interesting to see that we were doing stuff in between the beats. So there's a way, like a beat is not the smallest unit, is what I'm saying. If we think of a beat as something like an inch, then we've got different ways that we could divide it up. It could be half inches or third inches or quarter inches. So if this was the beat, it could be like divided into half, divided into thirds, or divided into fourths, or divided into fifths. So you've got all these fractions which are implied within one beat. And that's the second element of rhythm, how you divide up the beat. And as we've seen, there's already, with the way that we were saying those phrases, there's various possibilities. And a lot of them have a kind of a naturalness to them. For example, I was interested, if you said the phrase coronavirus 2020, coronavirus 2020, and you put the emphasis on the coronavirus and on the 2020, how would that sit with this feel? I think it is coronavirus 2020, coronavirus 2020, which you may agree with, and there's no right answer to that. But the interesting thing is that whatever answer you did choose to that, it was relating to the beat in a certain kind of way. And I think that's something quite elemental. To look at subdivisions, let's look at Shirley Ellis's clapping song from the 1960s, which is taken from children's playground thingamybobbies. And it's, if you can remember these lyrics, 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. And it's 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. And we can just chant it. 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. 369, the monkey drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. So how many divisions is that per beat? How much is time being cut up? Are they halves, thirds? Are they quarters? Is it like 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line? Is it halves like that, or is it thirds? 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. Or is it fourths? 369, sorry, 369, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. I can barely move my hand fast enough. But I think the clue is in monkey chew tobacco, monkey chew tobacco, monkey chew tobacco. And then just logically dividing those words, you'll see that we've got a division of 4. A division of 4. What about the next bit of that song? My mama told me if I was goody, that she would buy me a rubber dolly. My mama told me if I was goody, that she would buy me a rubber dolly. Is it twos? Mama, da 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 da. Or is it threes? Da 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 da. Or is it fours? Da 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 da. I think you can tell that a 2 is quite sufficient for that, because everything that's contained within that is my mama told me if I was goody. One and one and one and one and one and one. So you've just got the beat and the 1 in between it. So obviously it's got all these implications for what happens within the rhythm. If you have just a division of 2, then you've only got like 2 possible positions. The beat and the one that's in between the beat, which is called the offbeat. If you've got 4, you've got a lot more possibilities. What about if there was another verse to that song which went, I'm shaking my thing, 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 I'm shaking my thing. Is that 2, a division of 2? Shaking my thing, I'm shaking my thing, shaking my thing. Or is it a division of 3? Shaking my thing, I'm shaking my thing, I'm shaking my thing. Or is it a division of 4? I'm shaking my thing, I'm shaking my thing, shaking my thing. Yeah. Again, the clue is in the words, shaking my thing, shaking my thing. You've got triplets there. Congratulations, you've got triplets. So there you go. That's the sort of very, very simple way of describing what's happening within the beat, is to say there's different possibilities about how you divide up time within a beat. And if we take our analogy of an inch, we've now got an inch that's subdivided into thirds of an inch, or halves of an inch, or quarters of an inch, or some other part of an inch. One way of easily understanding these subdivisions is to use Mexican vocal percussion, which is what I do. Señorita for 4, Chihuahua for 3, and taco for 2. So if it was taco, each beat is divided into 1/2 of the word taco. So it's taco, 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 taco. If it's Chihuahua, each beat is divided into 3 parts of the word Chihuahua. Chihuahua, 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 Chihuahua. It's useful to spend ages doing this, by the way. This is just a very quick introduction. If it's señorita, it's 4, so it's going to be señorita, 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 boom. So, there you go. That's the second element of rhythm, which is subdivision. So you've got the beat and you've got subdivision. You've got your unit and how your unit is divided. What's the third element? Well, the third element is obviously where you go into bigger in time, because you've gone smaller in time. And it's how many beats? How many beats are we going to have? You could have a unit of any length, theoretically, of beats. You could make your whole musical phrase just 1 beat long. You could go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, if it was a call and response. Even 2 is quite short. We're going to the town, 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 down to the town, down to the town, down to the town, down to the town, we're going to the town. That's what 2 would sound like. But 4 has got this incredible logic to it that's compelling. We can go 3 as well, you know. We're going to the town tonight. We're going to the town tonight. Try not to get in a fight. Try not to get in a fight. We're going to the town tonight. We're going to the town tonight. Try not to get in a fight. Try not to get in a fight. And 3 is interesting because it means you've got to step on different feet. Right, 2, 3, and left, 2, 3. But 4 is even, it's very magnetic 4. We've fallen into 4 for some good reasons, I think. One of them is that when you step, it's nice to return to the same foot, so therefore it's good if it's an even number. 2's quite short, you know. So 4 is the next sort of best possibility. So that's why so many of our songs are in 4, which means 4, when they say it's in 4, it means 4 beats or 4 steps. So if it's like, ha, 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 staying alive, ha, 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 staying alive, ha, 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 ha. The length of the phrase in terms of how many beats in the bar is not really given by the melody line. It's more given by the rhythm section and the chords and the what the drums are doing. And really the question is, what's the smallest reasonable unit that you can break it down into without it starting to lack sense? And often there's a drum pattern which is something like ba-boom, boom, 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 ba-boom, boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, where one whole pattern of that is 4 beats, and that sort of gives you a big clue that you're in 4/4. With Superstition, it's now we think of that as being 4/4 largely because of what the drums are doing. Boom, 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 where one pattern of that is 4 steps. So examples of ones that are not 4 would be something like, someday my prince will come, da 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 da, which is in 3, or take 5, which is obviously in 5. Boom, 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 boom. Just for fun, I might just do little bits of songs and ask you if you can work out where the beat is, what the subdivision is, and how many beats in the bar there are. So let's start with, you don't have to be beautiful to turn me on, just need your body, baby. So, as is to be expected, it's in 4. And the primary subdivision to me seems to be, better be beautiful. Seems to be a 2 subdivision. So it's 4 beats in the bar and you're doing tacos, if you like. To turn me on. A song which is a really similar speed. We're up all night to get fun. Up all night to get some. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night to get. 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 Another 4/4 song. That was 5. But you can hear that. You can hear that 4 subdivision in there. How about green onions, clue, so there you've got 4 beats in the bar, subdivision of 3. We did Superstition before, that's kind of obviously 4 with a subdivision of 4. Boogie Wonderland. Quite a fast beat, right? Yep, and if you worked out that the beats are just divided into half in that one, it's in 4/4, that speed. And divided into 2. Excellent. And the last one I'll give you is a jazz song called Footprints, and I'll just sing you the bass line from it. Hopefully you'll get the feel from this. Boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom. I think the most obvious thing to say about that is it's got 6 beats in it, because those are really quite strong beats. Boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom. 6 beats, and each of those 6 beats is divided into 2. So we'll get on to the rhythmic DNA of a song after this, but I thought I'd just leave you with a little teaser about that, just to make it clear what's happening with these little subdivisions and these 3 elements. So we have our 3 elements, which are the beat, the subdivision, and the bar. And from this we make everything. We make all rhythmic material comes from this. And one of the things that comes from this is something that we would call the rhythmic DNA of a song. And so I just wanted to sort of titillate you slightly with this, because this is where this is going. And just wanted to show you one of these DNA kind of things, which is the bodily, which is 2 chihuahuas, a señorita, a taco, and a señorita. So it's chihuahua, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita, chihuahua, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita. 2 chihuahuas, a señorita, a taco, and a señorita. And this is kind of like a rhythmic footprint or DNA. It's like this lovely piece of material which contains the essence, the rhythmic essence of a song. And it's important to say that once you start doing these things, the little bits of the rhythm, they don't have to sit on the bar lines or even the inch lines. They can sit anywhere on this scale. So you've got your rulers. So in the measuring analogy, our bars are like little 4-inch rulers, divided into inches and then into into smaller subdivisions. And then we're using them. We're laying them one after another and putting things against them and alongside them, which are made sense of by that underlying groove. And that is what rhythm is. One of those rhythmic figures is the bodily. 2 chihuahuas, señorita, taco, señorita. So it's chihuahua, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita. If we were dividing it into 2 sub-beats per beat. So chihuahua, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita, chihuahua, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita. And finally, if we were to get into the more funky feeling, the more funk feel of having 4 beats. So chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita, chihuahua, 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 chihuahua, señorita, taco, chihuahua, señorita, taco, señorita, boom. There we go. Thank you so much for following through to this point. This has been me, and this has been the 3 elements of rhythm. Partly, at least, this is advertising for the rhythm singlets, for which details will be in the comments or in the detail at the bottom of this video. So thank you very much, and see you at the next thing, whatever it is. Good night.